Representative Michael Waltz, Florida 6, a Green Beret. How are you doing?
Doing great, Kurt. Thanks. And apparently the first Green Beret to get elected to Congress.
Really?
There's been 4 seals. I just tell them it takes 4 of them to equal one of us, and call it a day.
Did you insist that the congressional dining room put snake on the menu?
For a snake eater. Hey, you were talking about jumping, and I have to tell you, one of the highlights of my life, my term in Congress, was to actually jump out of the original World War II C-47 over Normandy, over St. Mary.
No way.
Last June for the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and we did it with a 92-year-old paratrooper. That guy was hooting and hollering all the way down to the ground. He had jumped in 44 and then 75 years later in 2019, twice in his life. And the reaction of the French people in Normandy was just phenomenal. You would have thought D-Day had happened last week. Thank you for our freedom. Thank you to our liberators. Thank you, America. It was really amazing.
Well, besides being a congressman from the Florida 6th District, you still serve in the Guard as a Special Forces lieutenant colonel.
Yep, got promoted, still a colonel, and now a colonel.
A full colonel?
Full colonel now.
Oh, you didn't get the Vindman treatment, huh?
Still going.
You got selected.
That's right.
You passed your PT test.
Well, it takes a little more than that to get to colonel, but still proud to serve. Hitting 24 years and
nice.
And put on the uniform during COVID. Helped with some of the testing sites, and I think it's important that we have people in Congress that are still rooted, still understand what's going on out in the force. And it just helps me serve that much better.
Well, hopefully you'll get, if you haven't already gone to the Army War College, I got to warn you, it's a party war college. So you'll want to say, look. Before we start talking about some stuff in Portland, I want to talk about your campaign right now. You run for re-election. How is that going, and how can we help you?
Well, thank you. It's going fine. We're out on the ground talking to folks. I have the Democrats are still working through their primary. I do not have a primary opponent, fortunately. And then if you remember Mr. Alan Grayson.
Wait a minute, discount Avenatti's running against you?
Yes, he has decided to also get into the race, and we will prevail.
Look, if I have you on, I play Ballad of the Green Berets. If I had Grayson on, I'd play circus music.
Anyway.
Wow.
We're just going to talk about the work that we're getting done.
Well, how can we help you, Michael Waltz of Florida 6?
Well, look, I think we just need to talk about the things that we're getting done for the district, things that we're getting done for the country.
Is there a site our guys can go to contribute to your candidacy?
MichaelWaltz.com. Donations are like ammo on the battlefield. You can have the most amazing background in the world. You could be Jason Bourne and Einstein combined. But if you can't afford to get it out on the airways and to block and tackle the garbage that the left puts out about us, then so, yeah, MichaelWaltz.com, I appreciate it.
Well, during my entire career, now I was not Special Forces. I was unspecial forces. You were the scalpel. I was the sledgehammer. But I never once had any of my troops complain because we had too much ammunition. Let's move on to Portland. Here is my theory. This mass insurgency you see when you look at the mainstream media is not really an insurgency at all. This is not a kinetic operation like it was in Los Angeles when I was out with 3rd Battalion, 160th Infantry. Kinetic mean use of force. This is an information operation. These bad guys only hold maybe 300 square meters of ground in the entire United States. It's a show, and that's how they're trying to influence events. What do you think, since this is your bailiwick as a Special Forces officer?
Well, I think that's spot on. Absolutely agree. And what we see in insurgencies all over the world, and I've served from West Africa to Afghanistan, is we often use information operations to explain our operations on the ground, right? Almost in a PR fashion. Insurgents do it opposite. The Taliban, insurgents all over the world, they want to have an effect, an information operations effect. What is their PR effect? And then they and then they have their operations support that to get that news item out there. And then we have we have mainstream media that's complicit. I'll tell you, secondly, though, I want to get to the bottom of where the money's coming from. And I sent a letter
Bingo.
to Attorney General Barr and follow the money, because this is not, these aren't a bunch of Starbucks baristas coming together for social justice. I want to, you can take down an insurgency all over the world by following the money and cutting off their funds. ISIS may preach like they're pure jihadis, but they run themselves like the mafia, stolen car rings, counterfeiting cigarettes, what have you. And I want to get to the bottom of the money. And I think we are going to find both foreign money and some other left wing money that is behind all of this.
Well, Representative Michael Waltz, I think you're absolutely dead on there. It is about following the money. Fortunately, over the last 20 years, America has become pretty skilled in tracking, cataloging, and identifying links within terrorist chains and terrorist groups. So we have that skill set to find where these guys are getting their logistical support, because they've got logistics. They even have at least a crude command structure. You see medics, you see organization, you see a cadre.
You see a commonality of training.
Yep.
You see how they're communicating.
Yep.
Tactics, techniques, and procedures. This is not grassroots organic. There are some guiding principles, some funding, and this is how we take down these organizations. We cut off their ability to communicate. We disrupt their leadership, start putting pressure on them, and begin systematically taking these guys down. Because, look, the definition of terrorism is achieving political objectives through violence. And through disruption, and that is exactly what Antifa and these other groups are doing. And we have to begin forcefully, and I fully support the president in forcefully pushing back. But I also want to see a systematic campaign to begin disrupting and dismantling these groups.
That's absolutely critical, Representative Michael Waltz. The fact is, in these cities that are dominated by liberal Democrats, the terrorists have a permissive environment. The Democrats refuse to allow the police to act, and when the police do act, the Soros-bought district attorneys refuse to press charges. Instead, you see, as in St. Louis, the prosecutions being aimed at citizens resisting. So we've got this huge problem. Have you got any, and I know you brought this up with Attorney General Barr, have you got any feedback from him?
Well, they have all 56 FBI counterterrorism centers activated and working on this. We have assurance that they are now starting to follow those money streams, but I'm looking forward to a briefing in the coming months to exactly what they're finding and where the money is coming from. So more to follow there.
Well, and of course, these investigations will stop the day a Joe Biden administration gets on the ground, if that happens. You're from Florida. Florida is key. What do you see happening with President Trump's campaign in Florida this year?
Look, I could tell you what we're hearing at thousands and thousands of doors that we're knocking every week, and our internals, is people want law and order. They support their law enforcement. They want to get their economy back. And most importantly, I heard in your earlier segment, they want to get their kids back to school. That is critical to getting our economy back going. And what makes me so upset is, white collar workers, they can work from home. The kids are at home. The middle class, or even the upper middle class and wealthy, they can afford private school or homeschooling. But our blue collar workers, your brick mason, your plumber, your electrician, they cannot get back to work. They can't put food on their table unless their kids are in school. And in rural areas, they don't have the broadband. They can't put 30 kids on a Zoom call, all day long, aside from the economic issue. So it's not a responsible conversation to say all of these kids stay home. And that's what we're hearing. And I think the president stays on message on all of those things. And then finally, who is best positioned to get our economy back? That's question one, and it is absolutely Donald Trump. And then number two, who is going to stand strong on China, which I believe is the most existential and dangerous threat this country has ever faced in its history. And that is also certainly Donald Trump, and certainly not Joe Biden with his son, Hunter Biden, who is an equity holder, a partner, as we speak, with the Central Bank of China.
Last question, Representative Michael Waltz, and we only have about 20 seconds left.
No problem.
I've heard some troubling things about the Trump organization in Florida. How do you feel the organization's doing? Are we going to win Florida?
We are going to win Florida. I personally know the woman that is running the campaign there. She won it for him last time. She'll win it for him again.
Let him borrow your command sergeant major there, Colonel, and congratulations on your promotion. Much deserved. This is Kurt Schlichter sitting in for the great Hugh Hewitt.